This video is going to be about Arcade by Output, and a bit earlier I quickly created this little backing tune. So what you have here is all of the instruments and samples that are in Arcade, and I've literally played this with my keyboard, and as you can see here there's a bit of automation going on the tone. So let's go into Arcade and show you what's underneath the hood, because it's not just a construction kit, it is way more than that. It has samples that you can do so much to, and there are also instruments in the kits that fit the sound automatically. So check this out. So when you go into one of the construction kits, this one's called Funk You. As you can tell, it's a funky song. You can see here these are the white notes, and each white note has a different sample. They kind of start with the beats and then they go up to the percussion, bass, guitar, and then you go to the synths at the back. And then here you've got all of these different modifiers that do things like reverse and play the songs in different ways. So for example, now I'm on my keyboard, I'm just pressing the bottom button here. So I can obviously record this in via MIDI. Okay, but when I press one of the black buttons, it does a repeat function. They all do different functions, or reverse functions. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then you can now go in and edit these functions. So for example, I can edit the repeat to go at a faster rate. So let's just do that now. Okay, so it's pretty cool. It's not just that, you can do all sorts of things, like you can go in and change the modifier to a playhead. You can start that playhead at different points. You can do this resequencing thing, which does all sorts of things like reversing certain parts of the sequence and speeding up certain parts of the sequence. So there's a lot of things you can do with the modifier, which I think are really, really cool. And not just that, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do for every sample. So for example, for this beat, we might want to have a bit more effects on this beat. Let's reduce the reverb and just increase the phase there quite a lot. Okay, and then on the playback, you've got different speeds. So you might want to speed up the sample. And the mixer will organize all the sends, all of the different effects. On the filter, maybe you want to have a higher filter with lots of resonance. Here's the actual sample itself. So you can actually change where the sample starts. Let's start it here. So it can actually go fairly deep, pretty deep actually. You can change the tone. So when I want to play the whole thing together, okay, so you can do quite a few things there, but what I really like is this. This changes the entire key of all of the samples in basically one go. And if you've created a basic song or you've got a vocal in a certain key, this is brilliant. I mean, this just gives you your backing sounds pretty much instantaneously. Each sound or each set of samples will have these macros. These macros, you can't see me doing this, but I am moving them with the knob on the first four knobs on my controller. So say I'm going to play a bass line like this. And you can see here in Ableton, they're all automatable as well, which is pretty cool. This is, by the way, one sound set. So I could, for example, go to the line here and I can basically bring in any different set of samples that I want. And there's quite a lot. And, you know, you don't have to use obviously the whole thing at once. But if you say want a funky guitar in E minor, you know, you can just go and listen to some of these previews. Listen to this one. You know, if you say you like that horn, you want to use that horn in a track, you can use that horn in any key that you want. So that really, really is super, super good and useful. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you also is that these lines or these sound kits really don't just use samplers and, you know, obviously modifiable samplers, but they also have their own instruments. So for example, just say I'm going to click on classic strings here. So here we are. This is an instrument. This is not a sample kit. So you can see on the bottom there, you can see the notes I'm playing. So say I want a bit more spread and ambience. I'm going to have a lot of ambience and just a bit of spread here. Let's try this tape degrade as well. So it does have instruments as well, and this is just like any instrument that you'll find in a plugin or an Ableton instrument. It is just an instrument that you can just play with MIDI, and like the samples, you've got mixing, editing functionalities, macros, and you have an arpeggiator. So in the editing functionality, you can actually see all of the layers to the sound, okay? And on the mixer, which is the overall, for each layer, you've got all of these different things happening. You've got different effects happening, different send values. So just say I wanted to add another effect here. I can add a chorus. I can add let's add a multi-tap delay. And I can actually switch some of the layers off actually. And then you've got macros. So you've got spread, ambience, macros, and it just controls how they function here. And as I said before, you can change them using your MIDI keyboard. And then there is an arpeggiator. The arpeggiator is actually really incredible because it has loads of different presets which you can change. So say, for example, you want syncopated 5. Okay, and each one of these will have different volume levels. So let's just reduce some of these volumes. Some of these can be played as chords, and all of this is giving you is the chance that the chord's going to be played, 77% chance. Let's do this one at 3%. Different octaves and pan and length chord. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here that you can do. Okay, and similarly, you got repetition, swing, and then you got the different types of arpeggiator. You got up, down. So these are the different styles and or as played. This is the order that you play your chord. So it's pretty cool, and you can save your own as well. The other thing is it has potentially 3 arps that play on top of each other. So I'm not going to demonstrate that, but it is super powerful. So we want to go back a little bit and let's try and play a different instrument. Let's play jazzed up. Just double click on that. So let's try arpeggiator here. We'll set a preset of syncopated 17. We'll change the rate to 16. We're going to use some of the macro settings, and we're going to hear what the arpeggiator sounds like using the macros on the keyboard. So now what we're going to do is do some editing of the instrument. So for example, we can change where the instrument starts. So for example, let's do an experiment there. We'll change the filter, we'll change the amplitude envelope, the filter envelope, and the pitch envelope, and then we'll go into some controls. So while I'm doing that, I'm not going to talk, you're just going to hear what I'm doing. So let's go. We'll start with the waveform back in its original position, and then I'll start moving it around. Now let's just change some of the sample layers. As you can tell by seeing this is actually not just a sampler, but it's a really super powerful instrument generator. Really sounds good. You can get real good sweet spots from it. So I really love Arcade. I think it is a game changer in terms of sampler and instrument combination, use of ease, genre specification, and pitch matching. It's just really, really good. It really works, and I really, really recommend it. Check it out.